We go. Hi there, everyone. This is Lori Edge-Hughes of the Canine Fitness Centre, and I am recording this. This was a presentation that we gave at our open house for our 15th birthday, 15th anniversary birthday, whatever it is for a business of the Canine Fitness Centre. And a lot of people had said to me that that was really interesting. You should record it and put it on the website. So I'm recording it so I can put it on the website. Alrighty, so we've entitled this, or I've entitled it, How We Came to Be the Canine Fitness Centre. And so I think it's important to go back and give you a little bit of history of physical therapy. So physical therapy in Canada. Okay, so beginning around World War I, it was found that wounded servicemen returned from overseas and were unable to cope with life's demands. And it was found that medical care and surgery simply wasn't enough to restore severely wounded men into healthy, functional members of society. So this is where the physical therapists started and where they became and came in. And essentially, there was a group of nurses and nurses that had trained over in England. So really, this started in England. And again, they were nurses who had taken specialized additional courses in order to learn how to do physical rehabilitation for these soldiers. And some of these nurses were now over in Canada. And so essentially, there's one story of this physio, and she followed around the surgeon as he was doing his rounds, and she was like, no, I can help with that person, let me please work with this person. I can help that guy too. And so finally she wore him down until he's like, fine, yes, do whatever you want to do with these fellows. So that's kind of how it started. In 1916, a one-year physical therapy training course was established. In 1929, it became a two-year diploma course at the University of Toronto. 1954, a Bachelor of Science at McGill University. And as of 2009, all schools now offer a Master of Science in Physical Therapy as the entrance to practice. And just as a note, the schools in the US are now offering a Doctor of Science in Physical Therapy or a Doctor of Physical Therapy. So it's the same amount of education, it's just they have jumped through the hoops to be able to provide a doctorate instead of a master's. So educationally, what we learn is human anatomy, physiology, psychology, orthopedics, manual therapy, kinetics, how the body moves, biomechanics, so levers and pulleys, but using gastrocs and your heel. All these kind of sciences, neurology, cardiorespiratory, as well as therapeutic exercises, and the different tools and exercise prescription. We also learn client health management, case management, research evaluation, and design and implementation. So it really is a very deeply rewarding career. And we no longer have to wear nurses' uniforms because we are not nurses and do not have a nursing degree. It is a full physical therapy degree. So in the early 1900s, when these groups were starting, they started and the registration, so I guess they formed and created registration and monitoring of practice by the Canadian Association of Massage and Remedial Gymnastics, which makes us sound like a very flexible group. Anyways, that later became the Canadian Physiotherapy Association. And there are lots of different areas of practice, but a lot of the time they can follow what would be the divisions. So the main areas of practice are the divisions that are within the Canadian Physiotherapy Association. So you've got orthopedics and neuroscience, sports and cardiorespiratory, women's health, private practice, leadership, acupuncture, seniors health, pediatrics, international health, pain sciences, oncology, and us, animal rehabilitation. So we've actually been around, I might talk about this later, but we've been around I will talk about it later. Oh, I'm getting so excited. Okay, so as far as physical therapy goes, we are a self-regulated profession, meaning that we have our college, or basically our boards of physical therapy, and we oversee our own practice, just like medical doctors or your dentist or your vets or your ophthalmologist, all of those, you're self-regulated, meaning that we have a practitioner body that looks and manages, creates standards of practice, discipline if needed, those sorts of things. We are direct access or primary practitioners, which means you do not need a doctor's referral to go see a physical therapist. It has been determined that we are diagnosticians. So what we provide is a physical diagnosis. Okay, so as compared to, doing an MRI and telling you that you have a ruptured appendix, we're not going to look at that sort of thing, but I can tell you that I suspect that you have early osteoarthritis in your hip and come up with a plan for treating that. Okay. And we are also allied healthcare professionals, which means that we work collaboratively with medical doctors and other healthcare practitioners. So we are part of a group that looks at treating the patient. So no longer is it a hierarchical model, right? So that the doctor will tell you what you've got and who you need to see. You can see a number of practitioners by direct access. We are all working for your own benefit with our knowledge, independent knowledge, and we work collaboratively. So if I think I need to send you for an MRI, I will write your doctor notes and request that or tell them why I think that, and so on. Okay, now if we look at the history of animal physiotherapy, thanks has to go to the British royal family, okay, and their personal physiotherapist, Charles Strong. So Mr. Strong was commissioned to use his electrical muscle stimulation unit on two of Lord Louis Mountbatten's, I'm probably butchering that, lame ponies. And they showed amazing recovery. And so really this got Mr. Strong really passionate, and he was a very passionate advocate for the application of physiotherapy in animals, and he pioneered the field of animal physiotherapy. And when he died, his students, D.M. Winx Green, Winx, I think we should use that name more often, Winx, and she continued to treat the musculoskeletal injuries of horses while she was in South Africa. And then in 1984, she founded the UK's ACPAT, which is the Association of Chartered Physiotherapists in Animal Therapy. And they were the first special interest group established anywhere in the world dedicated to the promotion and defense of physiotherapy in animals. So if we look in Canada, so the Canadian Horse and Animal Physical Therapists Association was formed in 1994, and at the time were the third association in the world to establish itself. So basically, it was the UK in '84, and then the Netherlands in '89. We were the third in 1994. So we've been at this a long time. 10 years later, so 2004, it took a long time, we became recognized by the Canadian Physiotherapy Association as a special division and were then renamed the Animal Rehab Division. Okay. Now, around the world, 13 countries now have animal physiotherapy associations. So we've got the UK, the Netherlands, and Canada, as I said already, as well as Sweden, South Africa, Switzerland, the USA, Ireland, Australia, Belgium, Spain, Finland, and Germany. We are also a recognized subgroup of the World Confederation of Physical Therapy, and around the world there is education in animal rehab that consists of either a degree, so England has a degree program, or it could be a diploma or certifications. And there are other countries that are dabbling in it but don't really have a formal association just yet. Okay, so yes, our international group is IAPTAP, which is the International Association of Physical Therapists in Animal Practice. Now, as far as the Canine Fitness Centre goes, the fitness center is owned by Amalia Rossi Campos and myself, Lori Edge-Hughes, as well as Manuel Campos, and I put him in brackets, and I kind of tease that he's in brackets because Amalia and I have slogged it out for 15 years. And Manuel, well, he's our partner on paper. So Manuel is Amalia's husband. So for myself, I'm a physiotherapist with at this point in time, well, actually it's April, 27 years of experience. I taught the first course in canine physiotherapy, physical therapy in Canada, the US, and Australia. I continue to teach around the world. So I like to tell myself this works for the breeders, and I can say I'm the foundation bitch of canine rehab. So there you go. I kind of started the whole canine rehab thing. Amalia is a retired veterinarian with a master's degree, and she's worked clinically in the past and was in research for decades in both the US and Canada. And Manuel is a veterinary immunologist with a master and a PhD degrees. And he was a researcher for years and guest lecturer at various vet schools in Canada and the US on immunology, and still is, I should say. Okay, so here we are. Amalia's on the left, I'm in the middle, and Manuel here on the right. So these are all much younger, 15 years younger pictures of us. Okay. Let me just see. Yeah, and I will say too, just because this gives me a chance to point out. So this is Jasper, and Jasper is how we met. So Jasper was Amalia and Manuel's dog, and actually he was originally their son's dog. And he had those terrible knees and ended up having, I think in the end, 7 over the years of knee surgeries. But when I met Jasper, he had gone through a couple knee surgeries already. I was practicing out of my house, and Amalia and Manuel lived, ironically, only 15 minutes away. And so they brought Jasper to see me. And I think about was the first time they brought him in, they thought, this is really interesting. We are really interested in perhaps starting a rehab clinic. And I thought, oh, great, competition. So, I was like, well, it's not just about, doing exercises or setting up an underwater treadmill. It's, there's more to it. And there's the diagnostics and the manual therapy and all of these things that are so important, and the education, and then the politics and all of that. And I said, just make sure you've really researched it. So that was the first treatment. Then I think that was the second appointment. Then about the third appointment, they come back. And meanwhile, I'm thinking, oh dear. So, here I'm going to have these vets who want to set up this big place, and I'll be left in the dust. So the third appointment rolls around, and they bring in Jasper, and they said, we were thinking about everything you said, and we've decided, we'd like to partner with you if you'd be interested. Well, turns out I was, and here we are at the Canine Fitness Centre. So that's all it took, 3 meetings, and we've been partners for 15 years since then. So we incorporated in 2003 and opened our doors on March 16th, 2004. And at that time, we were the first standalone rehab referral center in all of Canada. We boasted Canada's first underwater treadmill. And we started just up the street from where we are now at 509 42nd Avenue. And these are just some pictures of the previous building. So the outside of the previous building, and our very first sign, which was way too dark and not illuminated, and our underwater treadmill in the front reception area, free with a pug, our back exercise area. And back then when we started just 3 days a week with myself, Amalia, and 1 receptionist. So we were only open 3 days a week. That's all we could give to it. We added, I had kids, so, I kind of had to care about them. We added Margaret cradling a year later, which was great. That really helped to get the clinic up and running and going now like 5 or 6 days a week. And after Margaret came along Jen, and then Sandra, and then Sue. Actually, it went Sue, but then Sue was commuting from Canmore, and that didn't work out so well, so Sue left, and then Sandra came, and then Sue moved to Calgary. And I was like, oh my gosh, I saw this on Facebook, and I'm like, Sue, do you have a job yet? And anyways, so we snagged Sue, so Sue has been with us since moving to Calgary. And then Erin, who is on maternity leave right now. And then along the way, we had Shannon and Donna and Joanne, and they were also with us for a short period of time, but careers and distance moved them away from us. So our support staff grew from 1 to 7 rehab assistants, receptionists, and a full-time office manager at this point in time. So here we all are. There's up here is me and Amalia, and across the top we have our therapists Margaret and Jen and Sandra and Sue and Erin, and down the bottom we have Kate, our office manager, Paige, who's been with us for super long time too, Megan, Janine, and Bailey, and Sage, and Pauline, and Max. And a lot of people, well, let's say Janine was a client and Pauline was a client. So we've got a lot of people now that you will meet if you come in. So we were 12 years at our previous location and 3 years here. And I have to say, the new fitness center, oh my gosh, we love it so much. So we have 3 treatment rooms. In the old place, we had one really big one, and then we split it, so we had 2 rooms. And then when we moved here, I'm like, oh my gosh, guys, we want 3. 3 treatment rooms. We've got an underwater treadmill room with a separate area for that holding tank. We have a pool room now and a drying room, a dedicated exercise space so we can leave all the exercise equipment out and all around the room, which is awesome. We have an extra bathroom, which is delightful, mostly for the staff who are like, I got to go to the secret bathroom. We also have a little spot, Two Hands Physiotherapy, which is a human treatment room with our target market being dog owners. So I, as a physiotherapist, I own Two Hands. I rent that room from the Canine Fitness Centre. So any of the therapists that your dog sees are all human physical therapists who treat humans. So basically, this is why we created our little human treatment room. We have a larger, more effective, but very busy waiting room, and dedicated storage and laundry and a lunchroom, whereas it used to be our lunchroom was the laundry and the storage room. So it's we are just tickled pink with this new space, I have to say. Okay. And we're super proud of all the bells and whistles. So we've got tons of stuff that the majority of your rehab facilities don't have. So I think we have 6 lasers, which is almost unheard of anywhere else. So there's a laser in every room, 2 in my room because I'm that lucky, 1 in the underwater treadmill room, 1 that we can rent out for special cases. We've got an ultrasound, electrical muscle stimulation, microcurrent, which is a pain thing that clips onto your dog's ears, if you've ever seen that. The shockwave, which is quite noisy but works great for tendons and arthritis. Pulsed electromagnetic field, those are the mats that your dog might lie on. The stance analyzer, so then we've got some also outcome measure tools. So the stance analyzer is something we can use. We use it a lot in the post-ops to show the percentage of weight bearing front to back and side to side on each individual limb, so we can see how your dog is progressing. We've got our underwater treadmill and our resistance pool, the endless pool, for therapy that way. We've got land treadmills, 2 land treadmills, because that tends to be something that is good for building up strength, especially in a later case post-operative. We've brought in a vibration platform. We're starting to use that. We've got infrared thermography as another outcome or diagnostic tool. We've got tons of therapeutic exercise equipment, and we also have wheelchairs for rent or for purchase. We've got a whole wheelchair wall in the back. So that is great for testing on dogs to see if it's going to work, or dogs in the very early stages. People can rent them. People can come and see them. We can help also fit or measure if you need to purchase a customized wheelchair. And then we do have all sorts of assistive devices. So we can make various wraps and braces for the carpus and the knees and the ankles, okay, the hock in your dogs. So we could do wraps and splints and all sorts of braces. So, and knees we send away to this orthotist in the States, and he will make custom-made orthotics for if your dog blows his cruciate and you're not wanting to do surgery. We've got these great harnesses that we keep in stock that actually a lot of vets send people to us to get these harnesses, the help them up harnesses, which are great because you can kind of haul your dog around front end and back end if they are having problems moving. So lots of that. We are super proud of our therapist skills. So all of our therapists have advanced training in human physiotherapy. So beyond our degrees, we've taken several continuing education courses. We all have education or certifications in canine rehab, continuing education in canine rehab, some of these being advanced spinal manual therapy, bracing, splinting, and taping, acupuncture or acupoint stimulation, myofascial release, and craniosacral therapy, and vestibular rehabilitation. Vestibular is like if your dog kind of, well, like this poor golden here, it's all sideways like that, and the eyes are going sideways, and they can't stand up, and they're vomiting. Oftentimes this is vestibular, and there are maneuvers we can do to make your dog feel better almost instantly. If this happens to your dog, call us. Okay. In addition to that, we provide lectures and workshops and classes for dog owners. And we are clinical mentors to vets and physios that are learning canine rehab. So we have a lot of students come through that are learning, and our clinic is very sought after as a busy clinic with physical therapists who are teaching people how to, the other practitioners, how to be good canine rehab practitioners. Okay. And we are proud of our assistants and the high quality service they provide. Okay, so I've got here Lucy and Ethel, right? I don't hear. There's only likely a handful of you that would remember this one. Anyways, they work at the chocolate factory, and then things get going too crazy. They can't keep up, so they start eating them and stuffing them down their shirts and all the rest. And the point of this is that I think this is likely how our assistants are functioning on some days, because there is so much that they do. So they are providing specific individualized pool or underwater treadmill sessions. They will fulfill our prescribed laser treatment. So the therapist might prescribe laser before underwater treadmill or pool. And they would provide client support throughout the entire rehab process. They do the nail trims at the clinic, manage the weight loss program. They can do fittings for toe grips, which are really these cool things that we sell for helping your dog if they're starting to slip slide on the floor. Boots and the harnesses I talked about. They can answer your questions about the CBD oil, the supplements and treats. And they can answer all of your questions from those who call in. Oh my gosh, that's why I said I don't answer the phones anymore, because I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be on the phone for hours. And they do an amazing job of helping address questions. Keeping all of the appointments straight, which is no small task. So on a Saturday or a Tuesday or Thursday afternoon where we've got, let's say, 3 therapists on the go, the underwater treadmill, the pool, and maybe some nail trims or various things in there, it is a 3-ring circus, and they keep it straight. So it's amazing. In addition to that, cleaning and organizing and filing charts and all of that sort of admin type stuff, and managing the waiting room. So as you know, I would say this is not, our waiting room is not a it's not a doggy daycare, and it's not an off-leash park, and we have some dogs that are either hurt and some dogs that don't like other dogs. So it is amazing. We've got all the little nooks and crannies, and this dog goes there and that dog goes there, and a sheet gets held up here, and a chair gets put out there, and this dog goes through, and that one goes into a room, and this one moves. Oh, so our assistants are absolutely invaluable. I feel so thankful to have such a wonderful team. Okay, and we are super proud of the relationships that we've formed. Okay, so with our referring veterinarians, with other animal-related businesses, with the rescue groups, which is great, and with you. Our clients, and with your dog. So it's just, yes, I feel all the love like Snoopy here. Okay, and it's one of those where people say, my dog knows the word Lori. My dog knows that Lori means, yay, we're going to town, we're going to see Lori. So that I tell my dog, do you want to see Lori? And the dog is at the door, yay, the dog goes running to the car, yay. And that is so special to me to be, and that's why we call ourselves aunties, to be all your dog's aunties and to have this relationship with your dogs, but also with you guys. And that is so, so special to us. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for letting us be a part of your life, of your dog's life, and that is it. That's what I can tell you about the Canine Fitness Center in the last 15 years. Thanks. Bye.